if the suspended governor is remorseful and if he has met with stakeholders involved in the political crisis in Rivers State.
And one of the leaders from the Southwest, he came to my house, brought him. I said, listen, he's ready to make peace, this and that. I don't have a problem. If you want to make peace, he has the yam, he has the knife. He said he was traveling, he traveled. I've not seen since that day. So when people talk about it, I don't laugh. I mean, it is not to go on television to say, I don't know, we didn't make peace without the assembly members. We didn't make peace without the leaders of the party. We didn't make peace. You see, I tried.
Now, the FCT minister also said Governor Fubara made himself a tool for his enemies to fight him. He said he plays the former speech of the suspended governor and weeps.
When people talk about resolution, sometimes when I go back in my quiet moments, I play the video of the speeches of the governor. What he said, what he did to me, I weep. Was it necessary? This was somebody who brought you, gave you food, gave you everything, did this for you, then you became a tool for his enemies to fight him. We are all human. When people say there should be peace, nobody said there should be no peace.
The former Rivers governor said if the president had consulted him, he would not have agreed to a state of emergency. In the meantime, all eyes are on the Rivers State Sole Administrator, retired Vice Admiral Ibokete Ibas, after the National Assembly hinted that he will defend the 1.48 trillion emergency budget for Rivers State. It is still unclear when the budget defense would take place as the new month begins. There are growing concerns regarding the potential for accountability if the budget is passed, with Rivers State still under emergency rule. Speaking on this, in an interview with our correspondent policy analyst, Jide Ojo calls on the National Assembly to demonstrate full commitment to accountability, saying proximity should not hinder the committee's oversight of the sole administrator.
Because it's just a flight from Abuja to Port Harcourt. What is the issue now is this is half of the year already, and the 2025 budget is not yet passed. And this one is supposed to be in power for 6 months. And he has been spending resources, and as it were, there have not been oversight. So if there is commitment on the part of National Assembly, they can do their oversight.
Mr. Ojo expressed concern over how the emergency budget will be implemented without what he described as clear structures for transparency.
Because the assembly is not in place, it then gives the members of the ad hoc committee that will oversee Rivers State budget to help themselves to some contracts, and you get what I'm trying to say. In passing the budget, they will have built certain things into the budget for their companies or companies where they have interest to come and do some contracts. And knowing full well that they are the ones that will oversee the budget, you know what it means. I'm more concerned about that.
Mr. Ojo also urged journalists to play their part in demanding answers regardless of what he called the abnormal system of governance currently in place in Rivers State.
As a journalist operating in Rivers State, you are entitled to this within your right. Constitutionally, Section 22 and Section 39 of the Constitution has empowered that the media shall hold government to account. And that's holding them to, because this whether it's 1.4, 1.3 trillion, is Rivers money and should be accounted for. And there should be no opacity in the budgeting system. So, in fact, you are interested in doing your proper investigative journalism, you could actually use the Federal Information Law to request for a copy of that budget.
In another development, the Supreme Court and National Judicial Council NJC chapters of the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria, JUSUN, say they have withdrawn from the planned industrial action declared by the union. The national headquarters of Jusun had on Friday declared a strike action and directed its members to down tools beginning from midnight on Sunday. The union said the industrial action became necessary following unfruitful meetings with the Minister of Labour and Employment over the demands of the workers. However, the Supreme Court chapter, in a statement by its chairman, Danladi Ndai, said it could not manage the short notice and decisions reached by the chapters at the lower court. It said the leadership of the Supreme Court, led by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, had been making effort to improve the welfare of workers at the Apex Court. Now, the Federal High Court in Abuja was shut today, leaving lawyers, court staff, and litigants unable to access the premises. The same scenario played out at the Court of Appeal headquarters in Abuja. This comes despite a statement issued on Sunday in which the court announced that its workers would not be joining the strike. Recall that the Judiciary Staff Union of Nigeria issued a communique dated May 30th directing federal chapters to begin an industrial strike from midnight on 1st of June. The demands of the judiciary workers include the payment of a 5-month wage award, implementation of the 70,000 naira national minimum wage, and a 25% to 35% salary increase. Elsewhere, suspended Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan is set to appear in court on Tuesday following a summons. Her lawyer, Wes Idahosa, confirmed this to newsmen. Recall that the federal government filed criminal charges against her for allegedly making defamatory statement against Senate President Godswill Akpabio and former Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello, including claims of an assassination plot during a TV appearance. While it's unclear if she will be formally arraigned, her counsel stated she would comply fully with the court's directives. Still to come, pregnant woman, NDLEA worker, 4 others electrocuted in Rivers community. Stay with us.
Showcase
Welcome back, and now the rest of the news. Media report says a high-tension cable conveying electric current has snapped, killing at least 6 persons, including a pregnant woman and worker with the NDLEA in Okrika community, Okrika local government area of Rivers State. The report by The Nation said the incident, which reportedly occurred around 1:12 a.m. today, also razed a building and destroyed properties worth millions. The Deputy Commander General of the Nigeria Forest Security Service, NFSS, Dr. Nwachukwu Ada, says Nigeria's insecurity challenge will soon be a thing of the past. Ada made this remark on Nigeria Info FM's Morning Crossfire. It comes after the National Assembly approved the bill establishing the NFSS. He added that with steady support from the federal government, security will be restored across the country in no time.
has given us a name, and with that, them giving us all support, I'm sure the insecurity of this country is clear. Because immediately the war starts, not going to be anywhere for banditry, kidnapping, including economic sabotage. The bunkering and illegal bunkering are done in the forest. Pipelines are fire in the forest. So I want to, at this moment, assure Nigerians, the insecurity situation of Nigeria will be over in a very short time. All we are waiting is the forest to be empowered and to be sent to war.
And now, Nigeria's Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala, says increased manpower will boost the efforts to curb oil theft in the country's maritime space. The naval chief said this today on Channels Television as part of events lined up for the celebrations of the 69th anniversary of the Nigerian Navy. Vice Admiral Ogala said the entire personnel of the Nigerian Navy at over 30,000 isn't sufficient to man Nigeria's coastal maritime area, which is 1/3 of the nation's landmass. He quickly added that the naval authorities have increased their annual enlistment of fresh minds to fill the vacuum. Away from that, a Port Harcourt-based native doctor, Kenechukwu Ikebunam, popularly known as husband material, has condemned the ritual killings and associated traditional Igbo spirituality known as Ordinala from criminal practices. Ikebunam's comment followed the arrest of a native doctor from Enugu State, Levi Obieze, popularly known as Ide Play, Ide Show, who was arrested by immigration officials while attempting to flee the country. Obieze is wanted for alleged involvement in the kidnapping of a 13-year-old girl and the discovery of decomposing bodies in his compound. Speaking to our correspondent, Ikebunam acknowledged the difficulty in regulating traditional worship due to its subjective nature, but noted that the government can establish basic guidelines to manage abuses.
I don't think you can place a regulation on what is right and what is wrong. People tend to believe what they want to believe in. We've had cases where pastors are caught. Does that mean Christianity is not regulated and we still have these issues? So they can only but try. But the truth is, religion in particular, when it comes to traditional worship, can't be regulated. They can lay down rules. And these rules can only be managed. But if you say that you're regulating it to a point where you now know who is not carrying out ill acts, it's virtually impossible.
Now, he urged the media to support public reorientation, highlighting the role past media portrayals played in distorting the perception of Igbo spirituality.
I will still point out to the media, which I'm pointing out to Hollywood and Nollywood movies, who in the 80s and 90s pushed this perception of going to do and make wealth and kill somebody and then drive the latest cars and all of that. There has to be a reorientation process. I'm glad certain people like Miriam Willow and the rest of them are coming up on social media and trying to educate persons or the general public on what is Ordinana and what is just outright witchcraft, human part dealers.
And now we move to business. The president of the Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, says Nigerians currently pay just 55% of what others in the region are paying for petrol. Dangote made the statement during a visit to the 650,000 barrels per day facility by the president of the Economic Community of West African States Commission, Dr. Omar Toure, and his team. Now, he emphasized that the price reduction was a direct result of local refining, which continues to improve fuel affordability while enhancing energy security and reducing dependence on import. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has sued the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, over a missing 500 billion naira. This follows World Bank claims that NNPCL only remitted 600 billion naira of the 1.1 trillion naira it earned from crude sales and other income between October and December 2024. SERAP alleges that the company failed to account for the remaining 500 billion naira in response to a Freedom of Information request. NNPCL, through its legal representatives, argued that the Freedom of Information Act does not apply to it. SERAP is now seeking legal redress to compel accountability and transparency. In entertainment, Grammy Award-winning singer Burna Boy says he was shocked by some of the negative replies he received from critics who didn't want him to perform in Burkina Faso. He says critics don't have the right to tell him what he can or cannot do in any part of Africa. In sports, tens of thousands of football fans packed the Champs-Élysées on Sunday to cheer the Paris Saint-Germain players and staff as they paraded the Champions League trophy in the French capital before a major celebration at their home stadium.
And now, we bring you news from around the world.
Russian and Ukrainian delegations are in Istanbul for a second round of peace talks hours after both sides carried out overnight attacks. On Sunday, Kyiv launched 117 drones on military bases deep inside Russia after Moscow's largest ever aerial attack on Ukraine the previous night. Ukrainian officials say at least 13 Russian warplanes were destroyed in Sunday's drone attack, with President Volodymyr Zelensky hailing the operation as an absolutely brilliant result. An earlier round of talks in Istanbul last month failed to bring about any significant outcome apart from a prisoner of war swap. Russia has not made public its conditions ahead of today's meeting, and few expect a breakthrough in the talks.
This is the news on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
That's a wrap on the news this afternoon. Before we go, let's have a look at the major stories. Former Rivers Governor Wike has questioned the remorsefulness of suspended Governor Fubara. A pregnant woman, an NDLEA worker, and 4 others have been reportedly electrocuted in Rivers community. The Supreme Court and NJC chapters have backed out of a planned Drusun strike today. On the foreign scene, you heard Russia and Ukraine held peace talks in Istanbul after trading overnight attacks. The news was edited by Martha Okiri. To reach the news team, send an SMS or WhatsApp to 0808-721-7215. I'm Ifechukwu Mwanyeli. Many thanks for listening.